Now, more of Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute, the only show directly addressing the problems and solutions for Illinois. Now, from AM 560, here's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with John Tillman, President and CEO of the Illinois Policy Institute. And John, this week, Karen Lewis and the Chicago Teachers Union voted for a one-day showdown strike on April 1st. Karen Lewis saying the following.
Yeah, a lot of people were ready to go now. They just feel like, why don't we just do it now? Do a real strike now and be done with it, as opposed to just a one-day strike. And we keep trying to say that we cannot look at that in the context of a full open-ended strike as in April, because fact-finding isn't over. We can do this as a ULP strike.
So 80% of CTU, according to the vote, said, we're ready to strike now, let's do this. It's for the kids that they don't want to contribute any more than the 2% they contribute right now to their, basically for the average CPS teacher these days, to their guaranteed seven-figure pension.
Well, not only that, but the part that I find amusing is there's a statement from Karen Lewis that you call for a strike when the work conditions become intolerable. Apparently, they'll only be intolerable on Friday, April 1st, but on Monday, April 4th, it'll be tolerable again. It just shows the complete intellectual vacancy of all this, which is nothing to do with the children. It has to do with it's actually all about the money, Dan. You know, the left always likes to say people on the right are fixated on money. For the union, it's all about the money.
That's a fairness. That's their proxy or synonym for money. Interesting piece in U.S. News and World Report, most recent issue, America's Bankrupt Schools. It's not just Chicago that has structural problems, that has a bankrupt or near bankrupt school system. Chicago's is bankrupt. Other big cities, though, suffering some of the same problems, just not to the extent of Chicago. And the author of that article, Lauren Camera from U.S. News and World Report, joins us now. Lauren, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure, anytime. Thanks for having me.
So we have in Chicago a junk-rated, bankrupt school system running billion-dollar annual budget deficits. Spending $1,700 per child on pension.
It's not enough.
Pension obligations.
Not enough.
And we're still, the teacher's pension in Chicago is only 50% funded. Chicago, not the only problem, though. You took a more national look, and you find that this is something that's occurring in major urban school systems throughout the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, if you want to feel better about your situation in Chicago, you can look at teacher pensions in Philadelphia, which are part of a statewide pension plan that's underfunded to the tune of $35 billion. So you're also seeing some of these issues pop up in other urban centers, Detroit, Baltimore. So it's certainly an outsized problem.
All run by Republicans, I want to point out. Oh, wait. That's not true. Lauren, what is the common denominator you're finding besides political control in all these school districts as to what is driving this failure?
Well, there is a lot of factors going into it. I would note that, it's not just pensions that are that are hampering these school systems. We have state funding in a lot of states across the country hasn't actually reached the level that it was originally prior to the Great Recession in 2008, although I will note that Illinois, that is not the case. Illinois actually has been spending 10.4% more since 2008,
right.
which is actually second only to North Dakota. So
right, Lauren, we spend it whether we've got it or not.
Yeah. There's also a lot of demographics that are changing. So, for example, more than half of K-12 students live in poverty, which is a measure we haven't hit for a really long time. And there's also a lot of more students in our school systems who are learning English, and that's largely been driven from the uptick in immigrant children we're seeing. And all of that requires more wraparound services and social services. So those factors, in addition to what we're seeing in a lot of big city schools with the pension issue, have really created this perfect storm of budget issues for schools.
In your piece, you quote American Federation of Teachers boss Randy Weingarten as essentially blaming school choice competition as the proximate cause of the problems in the urban school districts. Kind of a difficult case to make out, particularly if she includes Chicago, not exactly a bastion of opportunity scholarships.
Right, exactly. I mean, this issue quickly devolves into political he said, she said, right? I mean, you have people on the right who say, these pensions are too expensive, they're unrealistic, we need to overhaul the way we provide these types of resources to public sector employees. And then you have, a lot of Democrats, including teachers' unions, who say, if they're right or it's more complicated than just the pensions, and they always bring in the school choice aspect of this. But something that Randy Weingarten also said to me in our conversation is, look, teachers, and this is probably true of a lot of different public sector workers, teachers don't go into the job of teaching for the money, right? What they would like in return for being a teacher is the ability and stability to know that when they're done with a career, they can fall back on something like a pension. So that's sort of her argument, where she comes from on that.
All right. She is Lauren Cameron. She's the national education reporter with U.S. News and World Report. The piece is America's Bankrupt Schools, worth checking out. Lauren, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure. No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.